All right, welcome back to the channel. We are moving right along on this ship. So between videos I mixed up some paint, so I'm getting ready for the next step, which is going to be step 9 here. So what I did was the whole superstructure is going to be white, so I'm going to do it in this RAL 9003, the signal white. Figured that's a good bright white color, looks good. And then the walkway portion of the decks is all this F color, this leaf green. So I just did that in RAL 6002 leaf green. Oh, that needs shaking up a lot more. But anyway, I just set those over here. But anyway, that's the two colors we're going to be using here. And then of course, you know, super primer, and then we're going to detail it out with the craft paint like we did earlier on the ship. So that's all the colors we're going to be using for this video. Well, that's not. We're actually going to be using, well, honey gloss on one piece because it needs decals, and then everything else is getting the honey matte like everything else has. So, but anyway, so a lot of this you're not going to see me do because there's a lot of stuff to be done. So everything needs to be, it looks like everything needs to be painted individually before you put it together because of the way it goes. Like this one has the decals, and these slide over, and those got the green on some parts and not on others, and that needs some detail paint. And you can't just glue this whole thing together and then paint it all white. So anyway, so basically all that amounts to is kind of what I've done right here, and that's just getting all the parts cut out and cleaned up. So basically all I'm going to do is primer. I'm just going to hold these down, and then I'm just going to primer like the edge. So I test fitted all this, and like the front goes on, and none of this recessed area needs painted. It'll just glue in, and same thing with the back. So pretty much just everything from that line out needs to be painted. So I'm just going to primer them, and then hit it with the white everywhere. Well, hit it with the white on the bottom and the sides, and then we'll just spray the top in the green and try not to get any on the edge here. And I think that will work perfect. And then the side panels all need to be painted white, and so it's just a lot of little fiddly detail work, a lot of little fiddly parts. I mean, this is a very small portion of what we're doing. But anyway, so I'm gonna knock that all down, get it all sanded down. I'll paint everything, and then we'll come back and we'll put it together, and we'll do that as part of the video. So you don't have to watch me do stuff you've already watched me do. So anyway, let me get all the paint work done and I'll come back. All right, so look how good these parts turned out. The white looks really good. The green turned out super cool. Look how good that looks. I came back in and I detailed that all out with the same dollar, the acrylic paints. Did it with the same thing that I did on the rest on the deck of the ship earlier. So you see me do that. So now it's just to put these together, and there's a ton of little fiddly pieces, but it's not a big deal. So here's what I did. I just took here and then just put here, let me do this the way I'm going to do it. Just a couple of drops, you're good to go. So I just put a little bit right here, and then a tiny little bit and put it right there. You don't really need to glob a lot of glue on this because it clips together pretty good. And then because you've done primer, paint, in the case of the green, a second color of paint, and then you went back over it with the satin finish, you don't need to worry about it's jammed in there. You don't need to worry about this stuff coming apart. Okay, and then on this big piece, there's a little door right there. That's the bottom, which is right here. Plus, if you try to put it on upside down, it really won't go. It'll fight you really bad, so. It's kind of like a lot of the other stuff in this kit. It seems like it's kind of foolproof for a little bit of it. It's not going to let you do anything real out there. Okay, so that's that, and then you got to do the same thing on here. Looks like this. And this glues on here like so. Okay, so yeah. You put a little bit more glue on here. I'm not super happy with that. Okay. 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 Make sure that lines up and presses up against there. And it does. And boy, let me tell you, this is where you're going to learn if your paint's applied right or not, because all these little pieces button together and stuff, you didn't paint a color right. You're going to see it. You're going to see that difference between the panels. Mine looks good. Okay, and then okay, let me put some glue right here. Okay, and then again, kind of the same thing as that, but kind of the opposite. You got to put it on the bottom here. Look at that. Yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely. Looks pretty good. That's good. I like that. And then that's going to go right there. And I need to finish painting those. But what I really need to do is glue that piece in. Okay, So there's, I don't know if you can see this or not, there's a tiny little cutout right there. That faces forward. So it's solid back here with the little cutout there. And that's how it goes in, just like that. Okay. There we go. See, it just goes right in there. Easy peasy. Okay, so I actually need to finish painting those 4 vents right there, or the 3 of the 4 vents right there, and then we can glue that under there and do some other stuff. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I have a couple of other things that I really need to get working on first. Actually, I'm going to do that off camera because I know it's going to be boring. It's just brush work. You've seen it before. No big deal there. What I want to do is I want to show for the next part, because it's kind of more of the same. It's more of the superstructure and more of the top. I want to show you how I did that green. There's a technique to make it. See how the edge is still white, but the top's green? There's a way you could do that with the airbrush without having to mask that, and I want to show that to you. So let me finish up with the little bit of stuff I have to do with this. Then I'll come back and I'll show you how to do that green over the white. Okay, so I promised last time that I was going to show you how to do this. So I painted everything the white, the REL. What did I do with it? I set it aside. Now it's hiding. It's the REL 9003. That's the white I'm using for all the superstructure. So I painted everything that color already. And now we're going to do the green for the last 2 remaining decks that need to be green. Okay. So what I was saying was, so what I wanted to say was, when you airbrush, it's going to spray out. It's going to spray out. It's coming straight out of the tip. Now you can kind of control that if you set it up. So if you're cognizant of the direction you're spraying, you can create shadow lines where it won't cover it. So if I come in like this and I spray on a 45-degree angle just right across that edge there, see, it gives you nothing on that edge. And then come in and do it this way here. And you can see. If you just sprayed straight at it, you run the risk of catching the edge of it. So you just come back at a shallow angle. Just like that. Yeah, see? That's all there is to it. Just a little trick for you there. Then you don't have to worry about masking that off or anything. And that's done. I can just dull coat that and send it on its way. So let me finish up the last one that needs to be done like that, and then we'll come back and we'll start getting some of this stuff put together. Alright, so we got the superstructure done. I tried to film doing the second half of it, and it just didn't go very well. This thing fought me really bad, so most of what I shot was useless footage. So I just want to come back and talk about a few things. First of all, when you put that together, test fit everything, make sure it fits, and follow the instructions. They're not going to lead you wrong. One thing I did want to point out was this piece here, B68. In the instructions it shows this. It has 3 little nubs on the I guess the top of it would be. They made up against the bottom of that floor. So that is that piece right there. And there's 3 little cutouts here. That just jams right up on them, done and done. Then you put those 2 decals on there. And then the next piece I wanted to talk about was, from a couple of steps later, was this piece here, A44. It's calling out these 3 spots here. Those are injector pin marks, and they face the back wall. They face this piece here. So glue those in. Another thing with this step, with step 12, is these ears are tilted in leave them that way, because that is the match to how that leans in. You can see how that comes in, and they connect right to it right there. So and then I painted all this white on mine, but then I noticed on the box that all that top was painted green. So I don't know if that's right or not, but it's the way the instructions showed it, so that's how I did it. The other thing I did was, they show you to glue part A53 on to the back here before you get, and then do the funnel, the exhaust stack. Do it that way. I glued it all together with this and then glued it on, and then I couldn't get the exhaust stack to glue on properly. I ended up having to bust everything apart and re-glue it together, and then it ended up goofing up the stack a little bit, and yeah, it just wasn't good. But I got it. Like I said, I had to tear it apart, got it fixed. It looks good now. I'm loving it. I'm super happy with how it turned out. Just had to go back over it a little bit. Lots of little detail parts that go into it too. I don't know if you can see that or not. You got the little lifeboat, you got all your little cranes and stuff. It's just cool, just nifty. So anyway, so that's all that. Like I said, we're all done. And then that brings us to all the shipping containers, which will be the next video. That's it for this video. I did want to say before I left though, I found the actual orange that they use for their equipment. So that color on the funnel, on the stack there, that's actually correct. I don't know what that's called. That's just a stack, or if they call them funnels or what. But anyway, that color there, that's actually their orange. That's correct. And it's also the same color for their shipping containers. So we'll come back to that when we do the containers. But ultimately, all we have left is this. And I think you guys deserve to see this glued on. All right. Look how good that looks, huh? That's so cool. Now, technically, all of these are covers that cover the holes where it goes down into the ship, and they're all closed, and they will sail that way with none of the. I've seen them sail a few times like that in some pictures online, and they don't have containers on the deck. So technically you could call it done at this stage, but realistically you want the containers, because these are going to be fun. These are going to be fun to work on. But like I said, that's the next video. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really wished I would have got more filming on getting that put together, but that just didn't work out. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did, and I hope you learned something. And like always, go to Scalefinishes.com, use code YouTube10. Get 10% off all the paints and stuff that we use. You know, we got all that in stock. It's all ready to go. As a matter of fact, I just listed a bunch of shipping container colors. So that's all online now. So if you're interested in model ships or shipping containers or anything like that, we got you covered now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.